you listening to the beautiful chanting of these monks today and yesterday, it is good for us to summarize what we chanted. So, Venerable Sumit yesterday gave an introduction to one of the suttas we chanted, and I'm going to give one brief introduction to the second one we chanted, which is Sonadanda, and Venerable Chandananda will give the other one. Sonadanda Sutta, the second sutta that we chanted yesterday, where you find some good information about the Buddha's great qualities. And I remember yesterday Venerable Sumita Thera mentioned that the first portion of the Digha Nikaya, first 10 suttas of the Digha Nikaya, which we could not finish chanting still, they are focusing on the Sila. Sila means the moral conduct. So all these suttas contain many information about the moral conduct of a Buddhist monk. So in this particular sutta that I am going to introduce to you, Sonadanda, sutta begins with a group of Buddha is taking a journey with a group of monks, and he comes to the village called Champa, and in that particular village the Buddha is residing at a beautiful river called Gaggara, and the news goes around that the Buddha is here in Gaggara, here in Champa city, and the message goes to the famous Brahmana called Sonadanda. He came to know that the Buddha is here in our city. So it is the tradition, in the Pali Tipitaka you find many places that when the news goes that the Buddha is around, Buddha is in the city, people usually go visit him. So Sonadanda and with the many other young Brahmins, along with many other young Brahmins, visit the Buddha. And before that, there was a little kind of argument between the young Brahmins, among the young Brahmins, that who should go to the Buddha. Either Sonadanda, the great Brahmin, should go to the Buddha, or the Buddha should come to him. Usually we do have such type of things in our society. Either I should go to him, or he should come to me. Because we have what we may call the mana, the pride. So Sonadanda, being a Brahmin, he was so proud because he was well born in both sides, as it is said, and he is well versed in the Veda, so powerful in that tradition. So his followers thought that Sonadanda should not go to the Buddha. Buddha should come to him. But finally, there is a very long, lengthy discussion about the achievements of Sonadanda. In the sutta, when we were chanting, I was yesterday chanting, and there are many items that Sonadanda, as a Brahmin, what he has achieved. He is born from he belongs to the Brahmana clan, and he knows the 3 Vedas, and a lot of kings and high-ranking people come to him, all those kind of qualities. his influence, his ability, even his appearance. Those things are mentioned in the sutta. And then one of the Brahmins keeps saying the Buddha also has many such qualities, like Sonadanda. A lot of kings go to him for advice. Some people go for veneration, go to venerate him. And the Buddha is also born, he is coming from a very high class family, Kshatriya family, Kshatriya family, all those things. And among those things, one of the things that I noted yesterday when I was chanting was, this is very nice, that's why I want to emphasize this thing. When the Brahmana was saying about the Buddha, when he was talking about the Buddha, he says, Buddha is welcoming anybody. Buddha welcomes anybody that comes to him, which is a very good quality. In the text it says, Sagatavadi Samana. He welcomes with good speech. And he is the first one to start talking. Usually, we do not do so. We wait. If I am a big guy, I wait for the other person to start talking. The Buddha is not like that. He starts the conversation. And always he is smiling, which most of us cannot do. It is not expensive, but we can do it. But the Buddha is always smiling. Whenever he meets somebody, he is the first one to greet the other person, which are very good qualities if we can apply in our own life too. And then the text says that he is congenial. He is welcoming and he talks very nicely and conciliatory. He is very conciliatory. And the other thing is, he is accessible to all. He is accessible to all, whereas we ourselves may be not accessible to everybody. And the other thing is, he is not backward in conversation. Anybody can have a conversation with him and it is fruitful. So that kind of qualities, one of the Brahmins say that the Buddha has this type of qualities. Why shouldn't we go to him rather than he coming to us? And then they decided, okay, let's go to see the Buddha since he is nearby. And then they go and the conversation starts, very lengthy discussion. But one very important thing, this is the gist of the sutta actually. The Sonadanda was a little, he was doubtful, he was in confusion whether I should ask a question from the Buddha. If I ask a question which is irrelevant, then my own followers will be laughing at me. If I do not answer a good question, I might be a loser. So what should I do? He was thinking to himself. And then again he thought, let the Buddha ask any question, and then if he asks something good that I can answer, then I might be well done. And then Buddha recognized his confusion, and then the Buddha started the conversation. He asked, Brahmana Sonadanda, my friend Sonadanda, what type of qualities that you should have to be a Brahmana? To be a Brahmana, what type of qualities you should have? Easy question for him. Being a Brahmana, he can very easily answer the question. And then he said, there should be at least five good qualities that we think. Sonadanda says, that we think there should be at least 5 characteristics, qualities. I will just summarize them. The first one is, he says, to be a Brahmin, you have to be well born. Well born in the sense that your father and mother, and also from the 7th generation up to now, you have to be in the Brahmanic tradition, not mixed. You have to be Brahmanic. So that's called well born. You have to have a good birth. The second one is, one should know the 3 Vedas. At the time, you know, Brahmanic tradition was repeating the Veda. It's called Rig, Yajur and Sama, 3 Vedas, traditional scriptures. So to be a Brahmin, one should be able to repeat the 3 Vedas, 3 scriptures by heart. And he should know the phonology, etymology, everything. Not just chanting like us. He should know from A to Z of the Veda. That is another quality. And the third one was, the third one is beautiful. One has to be handsome. To be a Brahmin, you should have a very good color. You should be having a beautiful complexion. That's also important thing. And the fourth one is, one has to be virtuous. One has to have very good moral conduct. The last one is, he has to be learned and wise. So the 5 things the Sonadanda says, these 5 things, one has to be well born, and he should know the 3 Vedas, the traditional scriptures, and one has to be handsome and with good complexion, and virtuous, the other one. The last one is, one has to be wise. One has to have wisdom to be a Brahmin. And then the Buddha asks, suppose if one thing is missing, then only 4 things is, someone is having only 4 characteristics. Can we say a Brahmin to that type of person? And then the Sonadanda says, okay, let's say somebody does not have good complexion, he's not handsome. Okay, that type of person can be also a Brahmin. If the other 4 qualities are there, then he can be a Brahmin. And then again the Buddha asks, out of those 4 qualities, if another one left, can we call him a Brahmin? And then the Sonadanda say, well, he says, if you don't know the 3 Vedas, if you cannot repeat it by heart, that is not that important. See? Sonadanda is saying, that is not that important. And then the Buddha asks again, then now there are 3 options, right?
Yeah.
3 left. Out of the 3, if you leave one alone, what happened? Can we call him a Brahmin? And then the Sonadanda Brahmana says, well, again he thinks and he says, I don't think that we have to have a good birth. We don't have to be well born to be a Brahmin. When he was telling this, his followers were behind him. And they got mad. Because Brahmins, they believe that one has to be well born in order to be a Brahmin. And then they were making a little confusion there. Oh, Sonadanda is betraying us. The great Brahmin is betraying us to the Buddha. He should not say like that. And then the Buddha realized this thing, and Buddha asked, oh, stop. Who should I speak with? Should I speak to you guys or should I speak to Sonadanda? Let me ask you, the Buddha said. And then Sonadanda said, no, I will keep talking to you. And then Buddha said, okay, then let us have the discussion. And then again the Buddha asked, now there are only 2 things left, right? Out of the 5, only 2 things left, which is wisdom and virtue. Virtue and wisdom. Buddha asked, if somebody does not have these 2, wisdom and virtue, can still one call him a Brahman? What do you think? Sonadanda would say.
Yes.
Sonadanda is so right, and he says, no way. You cannot be a Brahmin if you don't have wisdom and virtue, sila and panya. This is the beautiful part of this sutra. Towards the end of the sutra, I don't have the text with me right now. Sorry, if I had it with me, I should have shown it to you in the text. Towards the end of the sutra, Sonadanda says, wisdom is purified by uprightness. Uprightness is moral conduct. Sila paryodatam panya, panya paryodatam sila. It's just like when we are cleaning our 2 hands, one hand is helped to clean the other hand, right? In the same manner, sila and panya, virtue and panya, they go together. They should go together. If you have only one side, it's not it will not make you a whole person. To be a whole person, in this, according to this sutra, to be a Brahmin, you should have at least these 2. Other things are not important. And I don't know whether I have enough time. In the audience, the Sonadanda gives a very good example here. In the audience, he sees his brother-in-law. His name is Angaka. And he says, oh, my brother-in-law is here. My brother-in-law is here. He is handsome, he knows the weather, he is well born, all those qualities are with him. But if he breaks any of the 5 precepts, let's say, if he kills, if he steals, if he commits adultery, if he lies, if he take drugs or strong alcohol, things like that, then can he become a Brahmin? The Buddha says, Sonadanda himself says, no, he cannot be a Brahmin. So finally, it comes to the conclusion that in order to be a Brahmin, one should have those 2 qualities, virtue and wisdom. And the Buddha says it is so. And in my tradition, Buddha starts the teaching. In my teaching, it is emphasized that wisdom and virtue should go hand in hand. They should be united. Otherwise, we are not whole persons. According to the sutra, according to this gist, I think what we should realize is in our life, what we are doing is we are either developing our head or our heart. In some instances, we are very rational. We are reasoning out very nicely. We use our brain. And in certain instances, we are so emotional. Our heart jumps in and we become so emotional and irrational sometimes. So what Buddha is saying here is, this head and heart both has to be united. It has to be together in order to be a whole person. That is the gist of the sutta. I don't have much time, so thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share this Dharma with you, and thank you very much. And I'm really impressed for being here for these 2 days. Thank you again for providing this opportunity for all of us to share the Dharma.
go quickly to summarize these things. Still, let me comment on the Tipitaka itself in just a few words. You know, we just chanted the some of the suttas admitted in the Nikaya, and this is called lengthy discourse, or the discourse of long. What do you call them? The long length discourses. Actually, that is not the only criteria that has been taken into consideration in treating the suttas. As you closely look into the suttas that we chanted, that we have been chanted so far, it's very interesting to note that there is very systematic way. In other words, you know, the things discussed in all these suttas, there is a kind of common characteristic. That is, you can see you can learn a lot of things about comparative religions. You know, there are 62 heretic views have been discussed in detail. So in other words, we had to study Buddhism not alone by itself, but comparatively, philosophically, historically, and those perspectives are very important. So since Bhante already summarized this sutta, I don't think I have to do much about the beginning of this Kutadanta Sutta, because there is a kind of standard formula seen throughout all these first few suttas. Mostly the introductory part is quite similar. So in this particular sutta, Kutadanta Sutta, as you can see, as you must be already knowing, that there was a Brahmin called Kutadanta. He was getting ready to perform a sacrifice at very in big scale, but it was very sort of harming and killing a lot of animals and innocent animals, living beings, in hundreds and thousands. So then the Buddha happened to visit that village, and then on hearing that Buddha visited that village, a lot of people, hundreds of thousands of people started to come to the Buddha. And then this Brahmana called Kutadanta, he saw a lot of people going to see the Buddha, and he also wanted to go and visit the Buddha. So then there were some Brahmins who objected this decision, and they did not want Brahmin Kutadanta to visit the Buddha, because they were saying, almost the same conversation was there between Kutadanta, Brahmin Kutadanta, and the other Brahmins. So other Brahmins were saying that, okay, Kutadanta was born into well-to-do family, and he is a very prestigious status, or you shouldn't go to see the Buddha, instead Buddha should come to you, and so on. Almost the same conversation went on. And then Kutadanta, Brahmin Kutadanta, had so much confidence and faith in the Buddha, and he started to eulogize the qualities of the Buddha, and he said that Buddha has greater virtues and qualities than I possess personally. And he started praising about the qualities of the Buddha, you know, as we chant Itipiso Bhagavan and so on. Buddha is such indeed, is the exalted one, worthy, perfectly enlightened, endowed with knowledge and conduct, well-born, knower of the world, supreme enlightened, supreme trainer of persons to be tamed, teacher of gods and men, enlightened and exalted. This way, Kutadanta, Brahmin Kutadanta started to eulogize the qualities of the Buddha. And then somehow Kutadanta, Brahmin Kutadanta went to see the Buddha. And since he was kind of getting ready to perform a massive sacrifice, he wanted to consult the Buddha on this sacrifice, because he had heard that Buddha knows something about how to perform efficiently sacrifice. And there are 16 prerequisites and three other requisites. So he wanted to know all these things from the Buddha so that he can perform this sacrifice efficiently, nicely, perfectly. And then the Buddha said, well, of course, and he started to share with him that, okay, there is definite way that you can perform this sacrifice nicely, perfectly. And Buddha wanted to relate a story. You know, everyone is interested in knowing stories. So Buddha, one of the characteristics found in the Buddha is that he sort of convey the message through the means of telling stories. So I think no one is there who hates stories. So Buddha shared this story, and he said that, you know, Bodhidharma Brahmin, there was a long time ago, there was a Raja or the king called Mahavijitavi. He also wanted to perform a sacrifice. First of all, he consulted the advisors. There were 4 advisors, very learned, wise advisors. So that Mahavijitavi, the king Mahavijitavi, proposed this to the board of advisors. And then the board of advisors said, Your Majesty, this is not the good time for you to perform a sacrifice, because country is not in a position to afford to that. And there is robberies, and the people's their condition, economic state is not stable. So if you go to perform this kind of sacrifice this time, then the country might be in debt. So it's a burden, really burden to the country and to everyone. So what you can do first, instead of doing the sacrifice first, actually that wise, the advisors, they were very wise, and they directed the king that you should implement good economic plan so that country gains prosperity. And for those who raise cattle and those things, and you have to provide them with the facility needed. And in the field of economics, you have to provide them with the capital they need. That way you can really make this kind of sacrifice. It is beneficial for everyone. And then actually, I wish every ruler in the world had this kind of wise advisors. So he listened to the king Mahavijitavi, listened to those wise advisors and did so. And then country gradually came to the prosperous state, and then still this Mahavijitavi king wanted to perform a sacrifice. On that account, those wise advisors advised him, okay, if you are to do or perform a sacrifice, you have to make sure that it is efficient and beneficial for everyone. And then they said to the king that there should be 8 qualities in your case. These are the 8 qualities. You have to be a person who is born into prestigious families and well-to-do families, and you should be, perfect birth with no defect. The birth as the leader of this sort of sacrifice, you have to be perfect. The other qualities that Bhante also shared, that handsome and good-looking, and you have to be rich one and prosperous and powerful in terms of military sort of things, and giver should be a generous person, and you should be educated person and wise person too. So if you possess all these 8 qualities, then you are capable in performing sacrifice. So then actually those 8 characteristics are, already he had gained. And then also the advisors also should possess certain characteristics. These are the 4 things that